Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have a fun and colorful and easy shaker card featuring some new products from the My Favorite Things July release. This is the Happy Birthday Candles stamp set and coordinating die set. Now, I know in their release video they said that they weren't necessarily meant to die cut each other, like the die wasn't meant to die cut the stamps. But if you die cut the candles separately from the flames, this will actually work. You just have to separate that flame portion from the candle portion, and you can absolutely do that. I'm just going to be using it as a shaker window today, so I'm positioning it on some linen cardstock and running it through my die cut machine, and this is going to create my card front and my shaker window for me. Now I'm just removing those inner parts of the candles, and I should have done this before I die cut it, but I'm cutting this down about 1/8 of an inch on each side, which will leave me with a panel that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Now for the backer portion of my shaker card, I'm cutting a plain piece of Nina Solar White cardstock, and I die cut that to just about 1/8 of an inch smaller than my card front. So what would that be? Like 3 7/8 by 5 1/8? I don't know. Take 1/8 away from that. The moral of the story is you just want this smaller than the card front itself. So now I have some glitter cardstock. This is from Concord and 9th. It's a gold glitter cardstock. And I die cut little strips of it to place behind my flames. And I'm just using some Be Creative tape to hold that to the back side of my card front. And you can see when I flip it over, I have some gold glitter flames. Now, when I wanted to create these candles in a rainbow fashion, I wanted it to be as easy as possible, and this was the easiest way that I personally could think of. You could use the coordinating stamp, but I wanted it quick and dirty, to be quite honest with you. I had this idea floating in my head. I had a limited time, and so I'm using copic markers to color my candles. I placed my card front over that backer that I created, and I marked the area where each candle fell. And then I just took some rainbow colored copic markers. I'll have all of them linked over at my blog, so if you want to know the specific colors that I'm using, check over there. I marked those out, and now I'm just scribbling lines of these different colors of copic markers. Now, like I said, you could definitely use the stamp to do this and ink it up separately. I've seen Laura Basson do it, but I wanted it to be so fast and easy. And I didn't want my colors to overlap, so I could have done some ink blending, but I wanted the colors, the candles to each be a separate color. And so this was the best way I could think to do that. I'm using the chisel nib end of these Copic sketch markers to make my lines wider with fewer strokes. I hardly ever use the chisel nib unless I'm coloring on glitter cardstock or if I'm doing something like this. Now, when I place the card front over the backer, you can see that I have all of those different colors of candles. It's rainbow order. I did have to go back and thicken up some of the lines, so I did that, and you can see that they're all a little bit closer together, but that was really easy to do. As long as they're not overlapping, you should be okay. And then I'm just going to do one final check before I move on with the card. Now, in order to adhere my clear acetate to the back side of my card front, I am using the Be Creative tape once again. I'm placing it along all 4 sides so that this can be good and sealed up. I don't want anything leaking out of my shaker card once I put it all in there. I would think that that would not be a good thing. You don't want your guts falling out everywhere. I'm going to use the 1/4 inch around the outer portion. And between the candles, I switched over to my 1/8 inch score tape, and I'm putting those in between each candle. Now, you could definitely use like a liquid adhesive, but I didn't want it like smushing out all over my clear plastic. That drives me absolutely insane, and I usually have a mess to clean up, even though I put very little. So I decided just to use the score tape today. I removed all the backers, and I placed that piece of acetate on the back side of that card front. Now, just to add a little shimmer to this rainbow candle color scheme I use my Sukin Shimmer Spritz Spray. I'm not sure that you can even see it when the card is completely finished, but I know it's there, and so there you have it. And in order to create my well for my shaker window, I'm going to take some foam adhesive and I'm folding it over on itself so that I have a double layer of foam adhesive. And I like to cut off the end where I folded it over. And now I'm cutting this down into little strips so that I can go around the edge of this shaker window with this foam adhesive. Now, if you wanted to get really crazy, and I did not have time for this on this particular day, but you could put foam adhesive between each one of those candles and put different shaker guts or elements in each of those candles. So you could do like colored seed beads that coordinate with each of the candles, and then you would have all of those rainbow colored candles on the backer, but the inside portion, the shaker portion or the guts would all be different colors as well. I didn't have the time nor the patience for that today, but maybe one day I will. So to keep my shaker elements from sticking to the inside of that foam adhesive, I just ran my powder tool around the inner edge of that foam adhesive while the backer was still on. And now I'm filling the shaker well with some 3mm sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh, some clear iridescent stars from High Supply, and some gold confetti pieces from Pretty Pink Posh as well. I just thought that addition of the gold would add a little bit more contrast for the shaker elements that were inside and kind of make them a little more noticeable because the other pieces that I'm using are quite small. Now, once I have enough of those elements in there, I'm going to go ahead and remove the backer from the foam adhesive that's surrounding that window area. And I'm going to place this colored backer onto that foam adhesive and seal all of those things inside the shaker window. And then I have rainbow candles and confetti inside, and I think nothing screams birthday more than a shaker card. So once I have my shaker portion put together, I'm going to work on my sentiment, and I am gold heat embossing this big scripty happy onto some vellum. So I prepped the surface with a powder tool, stamped it in Versamark ink, and then I added some Brutus Monroe Gilded embossing powder, and I'm heat setting that. Now for something a little different, I'm going to take this over to my trimmer, and I am going to let the letters that kind of hang below the line kind of drift below my cut line here, but I am going to take that blade right up to that lower part of the P and cut all the way up to it, and then I'm going to pick my blade up and cut on the other side of those letters, and then I'm going to move back and cut between each of those letters. So I'm not cutting a complete line across, but I'm skipping over where those letters kind of hang down, and then I'm going to use my scissors to fussy cut around that. This is going to let me keep this banner piece a little bit smaller without cutting off those low hanging letters. I'm not even sure what those are called. What are the lower parts of P's and the loopy part of the Y that comes down? What are those even called? The descenders? I think somebody said that in one of my comments before. So I'm letting those descenders hang below the cut line, but I'm not cutting through it. So I'm lifting up that blade to skip it. And then I will fussy cut around those descenders. And this just gives this sentiment a little bit different look. I think it's a fun way and to kind of add this sentiment onto your card, but it also keeps it from taking up too much space and covering too much of those candles as well. Because if I would have cut below all of those letters, this would have taken up significantly more space on the front of my card. So it's a fun option for sentiments like this. Now I trimmed the end into a banner shape there, and I'm actually going to adhere this onto my card front using some small strips of foam adhesive. I find that when the foam adhesive overlaps white cardstock, you don't see it a whole lot. So sometimes I will absolutely use foam adhesive. I do still try to hide it behind the embossing just for extra measure, but I find that this works for me. So you can check it out in the pictures and see if you can see it. I can't see it. So for the birthday portion of my sentiment, I grabbed a stamp from the Yay For You stamp set. I'm gold heat embossing it onto this little banner shape, which is from the My Favorite Things Vertical Hearts in a Row die set. I love these little banners. They're perfect. And I only inked up the portion of that stamp that said birthday. So you can do it like this, or you could cut your stamp apart, whichever you prefer. I just partially inked that sentiment, stamped it down there, and then heat embossed it. Now to finish up my card, I'm going to add a layer of that slate gray cardstock. I will have that linked in the description as well. I added that onto my card base. It's cut just 1/8 of an inch smaller than the card base itself. And then I'm going to remove the rest of the backers that are on the foam adhesive, add a little bit of tape runner to the back of the portion that I had already added to hold my shaker bits in place. And I'm going to mount that onto my card front or my card base. I'm going to finish off the card with some more of this confetti on the card front. And then I'm going to come in with some glossy accents, and I'm just going to fill the wells where that gold glitter cardstock is. I just thought that was a fun way to kind of finish off these flames. So there you have it, a fast and easy birthday shaker card. We've got shaker, we've got confetti, we've got gold, we've got rainbow, we've got glitter. I don't know what else you could want in a birthday card. And I think that this card is actually definitely something that you could use for a male or a female. It would also be really fun to do these candles in kind of an ombre color scheme. So you could do like all different colors of blues or pinks or purples, depending on what the recipient really likes. As always, I will have links to the featured products in the description at YouTube, but head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Over there, I'll have more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies used in this card. Thanks for stopping by today. I really hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you won't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end. You know, if you've made it this far, you are my favorite. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, go ahead and click the button on the left side of the screen. And here's a couple more video tutorials I thought you might enjoy.